4-part live training series, and this is our second training, how to half your workload, caregiving and mental load job sharing, and how to know job sharing will work in your job. So, our training series is essentially to teach people how job sharing can improve their work lives and their home lives. And we'll just wait a few minutes for people to hop on here before we officially get going. It's 12 o'clock Central Time right now. Hello everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. And we are here today for JobShare Java live training number 2. We're doing a 4-part series every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time. And our topic today is how to half your workload, your caregiving, and your mental load through job sharing. And how to know that job sharing is going to be right for your specific job. So I want to welcome you here today, and hi Aaliyah. I want to welcome you here today, and I want to share a little bit about who I am. My name is Melissa Nicholson. I'm the founder and CEO of WorkMuse. WorkMuse is the first U.S. job share company. We were founded 6 years ago. I myself worked in the 24/7, always churning and burning radio industry for 15 years, and for nearly a decade of those years, I job shared. So job sharing is a practice wherein 2 people share the responsibilities of one full-time position. It is an incredible work practice, and a lot of people are very unfamiliar with job sharing. Even if there are a few job sharers in their organization, they either don't have direct experience working with job share teams, or they're not on a broader level. There's not a lot of people job sharing in their organization. And it has been around since the 70s, but it has remained one of the rarest flexible work practices. And in this time where we are right now, this is job sharing's time, because there are no other flexible work practices or work practices in general that allow you to literally work a focused, hyper-productive, condensed work week and then completely hand over your work hat to a partner so they can take the helm and get going. And they can work the other half of the week. Those 2 people are able to completely unplug, rest, recharge, and return to work, raring to go and excited the next week. And for them, that's often 4 days later. So 4 days of being able to completely unplug from work, engage in their lives, in the things that they enjoy doing, whether that's community work, whether that's volunteer work, whether they have self-care things they want to do, whether that's just focusing on their family, whatever it may be. That is how the practice works. And so essentially, there is something, it really hit me whenever I was thinking about this live training series and how we were going to do it. Well, before we get going, I guess I need to say a little bit more about WorkMuse. So WorkMuse does 2 things. We empower people to create their own rewarding job shares through training, implementation, and support. And we provide the same on the other end of the spectrum, training, implementation, and support for businesses to help them create sustainable job share programs that are available to all employees with the training to back it. So, and incredible thing is coming up here in the next several weeks, we have developed over the past 2 years the first ever global job share program. And this one is directed toward individuals so that they will be able to create their own rewarding job shares. And so that is coming. That is going to be available very, very soon. But I just wanted to tease it and tell you a little bit about it. So anyway, let's get to the training because this is an amazing part of job sharing. I want you to think about two things. I want to ask you two questions to get going. The first question is, I want to ask you, what is your biggest work struggle right now? Go ahead and whenever you see this, type it in the comments. Even if you see it in a replay, type it into the comments. Think about it. What is your biggest work struggle now? Keep it in your head as we go through this training. The second thing I want to ask you is, what is your biggest life struggle now? So those are two completely separate things. What is your biggest work struggle? And what is your biggest life struggle? So keep those in mind. Keep those in your heart right now and think through that as we go through this training. So it really hit me. There's been a topic that's really been heavy on my mind, and I think on many of our minds. And if you happen to be a woman in the workforce, it's definitely, and if you are a caregiver, it is definitely on your mind. And that is that there are 3.5 million women since the beginning of the pandemic who have been pushed out of the workforce. Either they have inconsistent childcare and school, and with Omicron surging the way that it is, vaccine or no vaccine, oftentimes people are finding themselves at home suddenly thrown back into 2020 with sick people now, with people who actually have COVID in their homes, whether it's their kids, their spouse, themselves, and still having to do it all, still having to work. And with, kids having having exposures in school, they're getting sent home. And that means the parents cannot go into the office and work if we're kind of in the hybrid model or we're in the in-office model and everybody's not still remote yet. So it's really throwing a huge wrench into things. And so many people, we were asked to do a lot during the pandemic and people weathered it and they got agile and they did to the very best of their abilities, really tried to make it all work out. But it's just not working. And in the before times, before COVID, before the pandemic, when I was job sharing, there was something really incredible about job sharing. And honestly, it was something I talk about here and there, but I haven't really focused on it and really let everybody know exactly what that was and how it works. And I can showcase exactly how it worked in my own life, job sharing for 9 years in the crazy, insane 24/7 radio industry. So job sharing, you are sharing the load at work, right? You are handing over your work half the week. You're engaging in your life the other half of the week. And you've got that supportive, incredible job share partner who just takes the helm. You're leveraging two minds in one job, two skill sets, and you're leaning into your strengths and professionally developing one another and learning from your partner. It's wonderful, and it's such an enriching practice. The thing about job sharing is it makes your job so much more fun too. When you're having a rough day, that partner pulls you back up. When they're having a hard spot, same thing. You hit a challenge, you dive in together, and you come up with better results than you could ever achieve on your own. That's what's so incredible about job sharing. And in this moment that everybody's feeling so much, what do they call it? Languishing. Thank you, Adam. Languishing is what we're feeling. That we're just kind of meh. It's just really hard to get up the energy and the excitement for work these days. Having that job share partner, that person who's really your work BFF, and to really that supportive partner who's got your back in any situation, and when you're having that rough day, pulls you up, and vice versa, and you lean into your strengths and they just make you better than you ever were solo, and vice versa, it makes your job more fun. And I think that we are all missing fun right now. We are all missing having fun at work. And so there are all these great benefits about job sharing for employers and employees and what they experience on the work front. And of course, everybody can imagine how amazing would it be to have 4 days off a week. I mean, I can speak from experience. It was amazing. And I remember job sharing my very first week. And that first day rolled around and I had, 3 days off in a row, and it felt incredible. And then the fourth day, and I thought, I will never give this up. This is the most amazing thing. My now 15-year-old, but my child at the time, my baby I didn't want to miss one moment with her. So it was incredible. But what it set up in our household may have been more incredible than all of that, if you can believe it. And this is what it did. It set up a co-parenting household. And this is how it worked. Truly, in my circumstance, my daughter, at the time I just had one kiddo when I started job sharing. I now have two, but I had one kiddo, and I worked 3 days a week. I had childcare 4 days a week, and I had my kiddo and then kiddos later 3 days a week. So I took that one day for me in between. But truly what happened was I was working such a hyper-focused and productive work week that often I was working 10, 12 hours a day. Nobody required me to or asked me to, but I just knew that we could accomplish so much if I could really get to the helm. And those days I was able to completely 100% focus on work without any distractions. Can you even imagine that right now? It's so hard to imagine. So, I was able to do that without any kind of distraction. And what that meant is those 3 days when I was working, I wasn't the second person to get called if I had a sick baby from the daycare. I was the fourth person. So it was my husband, then my mother-in-law, then my mother, then me. And that was truly because of the style of work that I was working in. So what it did was, and I felt guilt at first, like, they don't even know me at the daycare. They don't even know that Iris has a mommy, And they really saw my husband all the time. They didn't know, needless to say, that those other 4 days, I was hands-on, engaged, able to do all the things without any distractions, like go to the park, go to the zoo, just really not miss any of those special moments and really engage in my life. I became like a major into cooking at the point. I became a vegetarian and really learned how to cook for the first time. I took dance classes, I took acting classes, I did all kinds of fun things on my one day that was my me day. So, but what it did for our marriage and what it did for our co-parenting was really incredible, and I would never have guessed it. Because 3 days a week I was working this hyper-focused work week, and 4 days a week I was off, my husband became the lead parent those 3 days. He had his own way of doing things, right? And it was different than my way. And it was the same principles that I learned job sharing itself, that your partner will do things in a different way than you do. And at first it's kind of difficult to adjust to, but then you really bring your trust into the partnership. As you do in your marriage, you have trust in your marriage. And so my husband leaned in and became the lead parent half of the week. And I was the lead parent the other half of the week. He had certain ways that he put Iris to sleep that were completely different than I did. And she was a horrible sleeper. So it was a really interesting thing because it was co-caregiving on the best level. I mean, I'm talking completely equal co-parenting here. And the mental load. Now, you know what the mental load is, right? The mental load is remembering all of the kids in the classroom and making sure that you have got that you have got all of the Valentines in order, that you have got everybody set up for the party and ready to go. You've got all the invitations sent. You've put all the parents on a text thread. You're making sure that the kids meet their soccer practice and their basketball practice and their after-school activity. That's the workload. And that's the portion that women really have the unfair, unpaid brunt of, right? And in these times in the pandemic where what's really throwing women out of the workforce isn't necessarily their work, it's that they don't have co-parenting and co-mental load at home. They don't have co-caregiving and co-mental load. And so the thing about job sharing and doing it is that it kind of changes the way your home setup is. It not only kind of, it's the structure of the job share itself. So it's not like you're sitting down with your husband and saying, or your husband sitting down with you, or your partner sitting down with you and saying, this isn't working, we need a co-parenting household, let's divide up labor, let's make a chart, let's do this. It happens organically. It happens organically, and it's amazing. And it happens organically, and it's the job share itself. It's the structure of your job. And you yourself are trained in how to equally share the load at work, and you bring that into your personal relationship. And so those things, the mental load, that begins to be shared as well. And I, in my personal life, used to have people say to me, my husband's name is Mike, and people would say, oh, well, Mike is just so awesome. He's just great. You're so lucky. It's not fair. Your husband does all of this. And Mike is great. My husband is wonderful. I adore my husband. He's a wonderful person. But it's not that my husband alone is so wonderful. It's that we started job sharing at the very beginning of when we became parents, 6 months in. So I worked full time for 3 months. I was running and gunning and juggling and struggling and really doing a poor job in my job and a poor job with my infant. And job sharing changed everything for me. Everything. And I realized it, I first thought about it for people who were really struggling and had these infants and babies and da-da-da. But I'm at a completely different stage now. I've got a middle schooler and a high schooler. And job sharing can work throughout your life. People can go in and out of job sharing at the exact moment in time they need to. It's a really wonderful way to work in life transition, and it's great for everybody, not just parents, but it's particularly helpful for caregivers, people who are taking care of either their aging parents or both their aging parents and their kiddos or babies. So it's an incredible work practice for that reason. And the truth is that so many people are really right now in this moment completely ready to throw in the towel. They don't want to. It's going to affect their long-term retirement savings. It may affect them getting back into the workplace. There are so much up in the air with how our economy is exactly working right now that it may not be like other times even when people try to relaunch their career after a career break. And it's very difficult for women, especially as they near or after the age of 40. As they near 40, there is rampant age discrimination. People don't like to talk about it. It sounds ugly to put it out there, but it is true. And women experience it twofold. So it's really, really important that people are able to stay in their jobs if they're able. And in this moment, if they are able not only to just share the load at work, but start putting into place a job share mindset in their household. Now, the easiest way to do that is if you yourself are job sharing, so that you literally have 4 days off a week, typically 4 days off a week. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's, 2.5. It can vary depending on your job, your title, the demands of your job, and the structure of your job share. But typically, job sharers have 3.5 to 4 days off a week. So if you are able to lean into your parenting partner or your life partner handling the other part of life while you're working, then that is going to set up an equal caregiving household and equal mental load. The mental load comes into that. It comes a little bit later into that. And you'll find that with the mental load, that's also something you have to train other parents in. And once your partner, your parenting partner, your life partner gets on board with working, like literally having this value set be in your life and be part of the way you just operate in the world, then they, not just the female in the relationship, but they will also put their foot up and say, oh no, I'm the contact for this. I'm the contact for the drop off. I'm the contact for the pickup. Or I'm the contact for the kids' sports things. Or we're doing the birthday party. I'm the father and I'm sending out the text message to all the parents. And people start to eventually get it. So you have to train the trainer, train other people as well in this. But it starts with the two of you. It's very similar to actually a job share itself. It starts with the two of you and how you train other people really to work with your job share team and how to treat your job share team. That's a training for an entirely different day. But I do, before we leave today, I like to keep these short and to the point and really present something that is going to give you some value and something to think about. And so keep that in mind. Those two questions I asked you at the very beginning. What is your biggest work struggle now? And what is your biggest life struggle now? And now that you know a little bit about this, I want you to imagine how job sharing, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you're a business owner, whether you work for a nonprofit organization or for-profit organization, whether you work at a small business or a large company, I want you to start thinking how job sharing, especially right now, especially during the pandemic, could really not just be a life changer for you, but a lifesaver in this moment. And it's not only because you'll be sharing half that work week and working half a week and keeping your career on track and becoming better in your career than you ever imagined. It's going to be because your personal life is going to change and it's going to benefit, my friend. It is going to benefit from this in small and large ways. It's going to really be life-changing. And so I just want you to think about, mental load. What do you do right now? What are the main things that you do with the mental load? Now just imagine shoving half of those off of your plate. It's real. So the other thing I want to talk to you about, because you might be thinking, great, this sounds really wonderful. I mean, job sharing is such a rare practice. It doesn't seem like anybody's really doing it. Why isn't anybody doing it? And can I really do it in my job? So I want to talk to you just very briefly about what it takes for job sharing. There's really 3 elements. It's super simple, super key. Job sharing needs to be a fit for you. You need to find the right partner, and you're going to make a broad net and narrow it down. You're going to find the right partner, and you want to have company buy-in. You want to have management support and company buy-in. So I want you to think about, let me go down and hopefully I don't screw these slides up for you. So let's talk about, let's see. Oh, that's me. Is job sharing right for you? So successful job sharers there is a handful of traits that successful job sharers share in common. And somebody doesn't have to have every single trait. I believe there's 11 or 12 traits that we've identified through research and, job share teams. But job sharers, I want you to just think about it this way. Successful job sharers are often high trust, high achieving professionals with flexible attitudes who work well in a team environment. They are high trust, high achieving professionals with flexible attitudes who work well in a team environment. Let's talk about it a minute. Let's talk about what that means. Okay, so high trust people. You let people in. You're trusting of other people, and you're a trustworthy person. You enjoy working in a team environment. You're not necessarily, if job sharing is a good fit for you, you're not someone who necessarily wants to be siloed and be completely autonomous by yourself and doesn't enjoy working with other people. You have to enjoy working with other people. You have to be a conscientious person who really is flexible. And flexibility means that you're flexible in the way that you are conscientious of one another, because you are sharing your personal lives, you're sharing your work lives, and you are sharing your professional lives. And when I say you're sharing your personal lives, it's just that those off days, those are sacred. Those are sacred. So you'll have built-in systems with your job share partner so that those days are sacred. You don't have to be job sharing for the same reason. You just want to be understanding of what one another's time on those off days looks like. And you want to be flexible around when somebody needs to take vacation, that kind of thing. So truly, people who do really well in job sharing. Now there's a huge stigma around part-time working, in that people have a part-time, they're part-timers. They're not dedicated. They're not committed. It's the opposite case. You might be working in a part-time schedule, but you are sharing a full-time job. And those partners, I often say 1 + 1 makes 3, because they lean in so much and they really divide and conquer work and synergize together and really work in this hyper-effective, productive, focused way that is just an entirely different way of working that brings the results of 3 people. So people who are attracted to job sharing and people who stay in job sharing and are successful job sharing are people who are highly accountable. They are often very organized people, and they are high achievers. They take a lot of pride in doing a job and doing it well. So if you are a person who takes a lot of pride in doing your job and doing it well, then job sharing might be a perfect practice for you. And who wouldn't love to hand over their work hat half the week, their work baton, to an incredible partner who's going to do things in a different, but who's going to do things differently than you, but is going to surprise you with all that they accomplish in that week and how they got there. So think about those things. If you can see yourself, you go, yeah, I do trust other people. I do let people in. I do really take a lot of value. I really do. It's important to me that I do my job well and that I show up and do my very best. It's important to me that I bring results in my job. If you are a person who is very committed to your job and would love to just do it differently, job sharing might be perfect for you, especially now, especially in this moment. So now what I want to talk to you about, besides if it's right for you, is Will job sharing work in your job? So here's the aha. Research shows job sharing works in most roles, including those that seem like it wouldn't. In fact, it is stellar in demanding roles where a support system, a second brain, the ability to rest and recharge is a game changer. So, I want to talk about that for just a second. So those kind of jobs where they are really stressful, emotionally stressful, I want you to even think about like healthcare jobs. I want you to think about jobs that require a ton of travel, a ton of managing a large team, a lot of different tasks and responsibilities, jobs and industries that really just don't turn off. And a lot of these industries just shove women out. They don't mean to, but women just exit these industries. They go in right out of college and they're shoved right on out because of the high demands of the job when they become caregivers. So jobs that are even teaching jobs. And that's the one that people think of most often for job sharing is teaching jobs. But and they think of it as administrative jobs, those kind of jobs. That is so far beyond what job sharing really is in practice. Job sharing can work from anything from admin jobs all the way on up to CEO level. It's true. And in this time, in the pandemic, there are more companies, including Netflix. There are several companies, even very recently, who have instituted co-CEO job share teams. Co-CEOs, all the way on up. In the UK, there are job share lawmakers. So it really works really well. In fact, a majority of job shares are managerial level all the way on up to C-suite. It's true. So managerial level, director level, keep on going on up. It works. And it works in almost every role. And so the role, which is what many people think is the hang up, when it comes to their employer and they go to their employer and say, I'd really like to job share, that's really great. It's not available. It won't work in that job. Now, they haven't worked with job share teams and they haven't seen it in that job. It doesn't mean it won't work in that job. In fact, keep this in your head. Job sharing works in almost any role. It's really a personal and a work traits style. It's style fit, a work style and a personality style fit. So if you have those personal traits, if you have those personality traits and those work style traits, it can work for you. And then it's just about finding the right partner and making sure that you have sold the business case and have buy-in. And that your company sees it as the competitive advantage that it is to retain and recruit diverse talent. And it is in this moment, my friends. It is. So let's go to the very last. So job sharing, as we've just discussed, job sharing is not limited to support functions. It works in most roles, including sales and client-facing roles. It works in leadership and team management, strategic and knowledge-based, fast-paced, or highly transactional roles, and senior roles in global fast-paced organizations, even CEOs. So my friends, this is it. So if you want to know, I'm going to come to a close with our training. I want to be respectful of your time today. But if you want to know how you can truly, in this moment, stay in your job. Don't become one of the 3.5 million women who've been pushed out of the workforce. Whether you're a woman or not, job sharing is an amazing and incredible work practice. Whether you're a parent or not, whether you're a caregiver or not. But right now and in this moment, job sharing is a way that you can half the load in every area of your life. Every area of your life. half your workload, half your caregiving load, half, and half your mental load. No more laundry lists, my friend, running through your head. No more grocery lists running through your head. No more what needs to be washed before tomorrow. Who needs to be contacted for the birthday party? Who do I need to send an invite out to? You're going to split that mental load with your life partner. And it's all going to happen because you are job sharing in your life. Whether you ever end up job sharing or not, take that home. Take that home with you. Put it in place. But the truth is, it's really hard to put it in place, isn't it? It is really hard. But you know what's really great and really easy to do? When you start working in a different way that supports your family financially, with benefits, with all of the things you know, and with the flexibility that you need, but you are working in a hyper-focused work week half the week, and that is where your mind, your brain, and your energy go half the week, your parenting partner will slide in, put on the hat of caregiver, co-caregiver, co-parenting, and mental load. It will happen. And so now you know what it takes to job share, what kind of person has to bring their unique gifts to a job share partnership team, to lean in together, to divide and conquer and synergize and lean into your strengths and learn from one another and be there for one another. What kind of person would thrive in a job share? And now you know it can work in any position, any role. It can work in any role, and it can work in your role. So I want to leave you today with something that you can do. We have a cheat sheet just to give you a little more information and to really kind of start your learning process if this is a new concept to you. I want you to think about right now those two questions. What's your biggest work struggle? What's your biggest life struggle? Now think about how can you implement a job? Like, how would that change if you were job sharing? How would that change if you were sharing your job? Job sharing. Not working part-time, my friend. Job sharing. Advancing your career. Those teams are promoted over 70% more. Over 70% more. There, blah, 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 blah. Those teams, over 70% of job share teams who go out for a promotion are promoted together. They're so productive, so efficient, so effective, and bring such incredible results to their employers. So think about how you would do that. And I want to give you this resource. So here it is, workmuse.com/3keys. Go ahead, and it's a free gift from me to you. workmuse.com/3keys. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. Thank you for your energy. And this is, as I said, part of a 4-part series. This is the second training. The following 2 trainings are going to be the following 2 Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon Central Time, and 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Facebook at our WorkMuse Facebook page, or in our WorkMuse private Facebook community, which you are welcome to join. Job share, live life, plus slay work. Thank you again for your energy and time, and I hope to see you for the next 2 trainings. They're going to be good, my friend. See you then.